Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Friday, October the 13th. Friday the 13th. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. And yes, yesterday I did not make a video. What happened was I was trading. I got caught in a trade. And as some of you may remember, I volunteer at a food bank on Thursday mornings. And I basically ran out of time. So that's why there was no video yesterday. Okay, so for the week. Oh no, we've got 1, 2, 3 gaps that have not filled. And if you notice, we are now almost 65 pips below the weekly open. Price came crashing back down. We're only 4 pips off the low, making new lows, and 202 off the high. So for the week, if we zoom out to the month, we are below the monthly open by about 44, 45 pips at the moment. 202 off the high and 99 off the low. So notice that off the high, that high happened this week for the month. And we broke through the opening range for the week. You can see here we broke through the opening range for the month earlier today, crossed back down through it, hit the opening range for the week low, and broke through that. And so we are still in the opening range for the month right here. For the year, we're just 46 pips above the yearly open. So we're looks like we might be making or might be headed back to that level. Walmall says he's thinking we're going to hit 119 again, or the 119 area. So I guess that's anywhere between 119.00 and 119.99. Let's just see if that happens. Inside bar traders, we had an inside bar 4 days ago that opened the week. And as you can see here, once again, taking trades at the line with the candle color would have been profitable so long as you take profit while you can. And a handful of inside bar trades on daily, weekly, and monthly. For the day, we had red news, but we've only have 94 pips so far. And we've got 8 pairs over 100 pips in range. And notice all the pound pairs, or most of the pound pairs, have moved 100. The Euro GBP, only 22 pips of range. I know some people like trading that. It would drive me bonkers. And notice the dollar yens only has 38 pips of range. It's really hard to make pips, make big pips when you don't have that much range. Looks like price is dropping below the launch pad here. And for the day, notice we crisscrossed that weekly open. So once again, candle color at the line. You can see what happens. And it doesn't have to be the H1. It's whatever candle color you are looking at. Just try not to go against it. Green rats, I guess prepare to get ready. We've got that 94 pip range, large enough. But right now, you can see here from the M30 all the way up through the monthlies, all red. You might be swimming against the tide. Bambino Flex indicator said to be short. Was definitely on today. Near the pivot, bias is short. It looks like, did we touch that pivot? No, looks like we missed it by about a pip. So it says short near the pivot. That played off or paid off. We haven't hit the monthly pivot yet. We took out the weekly, and we missed the daily, yeah, by 1 pip. I think it was like 0.8. Let's see. 246, 254. No. Yep. 0.8. But if you were in that trade, fading, going from the open, fading the pivot, there were some pips to be made. 74 to, or 2174 to 2224. That's what, 50 pips. That's not bad. In and out of that lower wick zone. And once again, you can see price, how it crisscrossed that weekly open. And once again, price does not like closing inside the wick zone. And outside can either be in the candle body above the upper wick zone or below the lower wick zone. It's just outside of the wick zone. This week ranged 206. It's 58 percentile. Average trading range over the past 14 weeks, 220. So we're below average there. High minus previous high, 76 pips. So that would have been a nice trade. Going across that weekly high. Then let's see, we've got we did not cross below the previous week's low, so we've got a higher high, higher low on the weekly candle. High minus close 137 for you rats. Close minus low at the moment's only 3, so you green rats have to be prepared. High minus open for buy zone traders 138, and for those who are shorting off that weekly open crossover, 68 pips at the moment. So once again, these simple horizontal line trades prove to be profitable. Looking here at the M30 range, you can see it's died down. It's Friday, it's noon over in New York. Most of the traders are probably at home, but you can see we had some nice action earlier here. Break of that previous day's low, boom. You can see it broke it once here, broke it once here, and then boom, as John Madden would say. Looking at lower high, higher lows, just a scalp right here was good for almost 4 pips, 33 to 37. Not sure where that higher, oh, here's the higher low. Right here. We crossed through that and down. Now we're back hitting it. See what happens here. We have not pushed the range for the year. And no, I haven't made buttons for this yet. Let's see, range by month. We're only at 300 pips for the month. So we're still working on that range. We'll see if it extends or not. If anything, if it's going to extend it, it looks like it might extend it to the downside. And we're inside the previous month's lower wick zone. Sellers strong control. We're below the midpoint. We're below the pivot. We had a monthly pivot fade to the buy, but you have to be on the other side of the open to do that. And you can see here prices cross below the monthly open. Zoom into the weekly. We're inside that lower wick zone. Sellers strong control once again. Cross below the previous mid and the pivot. But we have a higher high, higher low. And price cross below the weekly open. And finally, zoom in to the daily level where you can see all the pivots show up. Price below the lower wick zone. D1 turning down. Seller strong control below the previous mid and a fade pivot buy, but once again needs to be above the open. If that pivot's above the open, to start thinking about fading it. So, fellow traders, we've been telling the stories that we tell, and we still got more stories to tell. And yesterday I told myself a story, and it didn't come true. And that's what, like I said, I got caught. I thought price needed to go across the 75 line to take out stops, and price just would not get above it. And I held on to one last trade that I shouldn't have, and then it turned against me, and I started averaging in. Just got off of my trading plan. And the thing is, I should have known better for many, many reasons. One being, I knew I had to leave out of here, get ready at a certain time, because I wanted to start making the video, and then I just messed up. I should have just taken a less than a pip loss. I'd already made a bunch of pips for the day, but I'm hard-headed sometimes, and you might recognize that in yourself, where you focus on winning the trade. Even though we talk about managing the money, and when I finally, took it, I didn't lose more than I was willing to lose. And the thing is, full disclosure, I don't do this to pay the bills. I do this because I enjoy doing it. Call it a hobby. Walmart, he uses it to put food on the table. So we're coming at it from different perspectives. So, he was admonishing me for some of my stupidity. I have to say he was probably right, or was right. But at the time, sometimes I'm thinking, I know it's going to do this, or I know it's going to do that. But every now and then, the stories that I tell myself they don't pan out. And that's what you really have to remember when you're trading. And the one thing I realized was, we talk about focusing on the money, and some people say don't focus on the money, but when it all gets down to it, money's the important thing, because if you don't have enough money, you can't trade. So you got to stay in the game. Have enough money to stay in the game, but you don't want to, kill your portfolio or diminish your portfolio to where it's almost impossible to even get back to even. If you lose half your account, then you've got to double your account just to get back to where you were. That's just something to keep in mind when you're trading. So the thing is, it's one of those things is where don't worry about winning the trade. You might want to draw lines in your money. I say, like, if you got $1,000 account and you move it up, you win enough. Now you're at, say, 1,200. Well, maybe you give yourself 100 to play with, but you don't let it go past that 1,100 mark, because you've already crossed the 1,200 mark. So never give up two lines. So, fellow traders, we'll get into that more probably next week. So I hope you all have a really fun and safe weekend, considering what's going on in the world right now. So keep your head on swivel. And, if you don't have to go out, probably stay home. You'll probably be safer there. So Always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over.